This episode of Will It Bread brought to you in Maryvision. Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Will It Bread, back by popular demand, among other things that I'll get into. Yeah, it's been interesting. Hi, Chris from the future here. This idiot decided it was a good idea to film the first episode whilst adjusting back to night shift. And he's in for a long night. Yeah, there's a reason that I left. I moved. I now live in a completely different state with a completely different job. I graduated college, so that was fun. And now I'm doing this. So, yeah, let's get right into it. So, I was thinking to myself, what would possibly be worthy of bringing back Will It Bread? Until I answered that question. Vodka pizza. Except someone had already done vodka pizza. So instead, we're going to take pineapple rum and we're going to make pizza crust with it. Let me first get our impressions on this pineapple rum, though. I mean, Plantation's one of my favorite rums. But you really gotta just, I've never tried their pineapple, but I have heard so much from absolutely nobody. But I really gotta try it, so... That tastes like pineapple, actually. It literally is rum that tastes like pineapples. So I've got high hopes. However, the more astute of you have probably realized, alcohol and yeast don't really mix very well, to a point. I mean, we make like beer and stuff with it, but alcohol will kill yeast immediately. So we have to find a way to remove the alcohol from this. And I've come up with a very simple solution that I do not recommend that you try at home, but basically, I'm gonna cook it until the alcohol comes out of it. And I'm just gonna maintain a temperature under boiling and hope it doesn't catch fire. So yeah. To attempt to boil the alcohol out of this. Now, the recipe calls for 3/4 of a cup. Since this is 40% alcohol, I'm eyeballing the math, but I'm going to start with about 1.5 cups of rum, and we're going to go from there. That seems like about right. That seems like that'll boil down properly. And could be wrong, but we're going to do our best. Now, the worst part about this is that I have to sit here and actually watch some of my favorite rum no longer become rum. And you all get to see some kind of sped up action instead. So, yeah, that's a thing. Maybe we'll talk. Probably not. But maybe we'll talk. So, yeah. I'll see y'all when the rum is ready. So I just get to sit here and wait for it to, wait for the rum to boil off all the stuff that actually makes it rum. Yeah. Oh, and yes, I am sipping Mountain Dew out of a wine glass. I'm an adult, and it's classy. Fight me. Probably the longest part of the recipe, honestly. Like, under any other circumstances, should be no problem. You just whip it out and you make pizza dough real quick. Every other time I make pizza dough, that's like a 15-minute ordeal, and you come back to it in like an hour and a half, and it's ready to roll out. But something about having to remove all the alcohol out of some rum is just, yeah. Mentally draining. Alright, so our rum is done boiling. It's boiled down quite a lot. It's, you know, barely in there anymore. Should be about 3/4 of a cup. If my math is right, which it normally isn't, but we'll make bread with it. So first, we're going to add about a cup of flour, give or take. And the point is, we're trying to mix all of this stuff in with this 1 cup of flour before we add the second cup. It'll make everything blend together. I've made this pizza recipe a lot, minus the rum. I normally use water. But I've done this quite a few times, and every time that I've done it, it normally mixes way better. And I mean way better when you mix everything first. When you mix everything first and then go for it after. So, yeast. And by the way, when you're boiling that, make sure that you maintain under 200 degrees. Just so that we don't boil off any of the water, because we kind of need that in order to make bread. So I have flour, rum, yeast, and I'm going to start mixing this. Ooh, that's what else I'm missing. Olive oil. Can't have pizza dough without olive oil. This particular recipe calls for about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. A lot of times when I make this, I find that that's not enough. You end up using about another tablespoon or 2. Do what you want. I'm not a cop. I can't stop you. But pretty much just start folding this until it comes together. It's still very sticky. Very sticky. Which, you know, it's supposed to have more than double this amount of flour. This is just to get the yeast and the sugars all nice and cooperating. Okay, so that's together. Check. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to add our second cup of flour. Heaping this time, because I think that was a little bit more than 3/4 cups of rum. And we're also going to add some spices out of the spice drawer. I have oregano and parsley, and it's going to make this taste just all that much more better. Give it the good old parsley. Give it the old oregano. Because this is pizza. It's an Italian dish. You want to use Italian herbs, you know? And that's absolutely the only reason I'm doing this. Not because I expect this to taste a certain way. Not at all. Another thing we're going to add, just to make it taste a little better, a little salt. My doctor would disagree with the amount of salt that I'm adding, but he can go fight me. He can try. And we're going to start mixing. And this is one of those doughs you actually don't need to work it too much. It's normally comes together pretty well. Honestly, this dough is kind of depressing. And while I need it, I would like to talk just a little bit about moving to a new state. This has been quite an experience for me. This is the first time that I've properly lived outside of the state of Tennessee. Now that I'm doing it, I realize just how good I have it. I moved to one of the northern states. I'm actually like 30 minutes away from Lake Michigan. And it's freaking cold. Y'all are going to be seeing this around Christmas. I am making this well before Christmas. And believe me when I say it's freaking cold. I've already had to deal with ice. And it is barely December when I'm recording this. So, yeah, that's moving to a new state for you. Didn't realize how good I had it until I left it. And now I need this job to survive. So, yay, stuck here. Also, about boiling that rum, you don't realize how awful you have it until you're partway through boiling rum and you realize that you've just wasted fantastic rum trying to make pizza dough. Might have boiled down that rum too much. So when you're boiling it, if you do for some weird reason decide you want to do this, while you're boiling it, smell it. You will smell the exact moment that alcohol disappears because it'll stop burning your nose. I gave it the good old sniff test about once every 5 minutes. No, I will not elaborate further, but I gave it a sniff test about once every 5 minutes, and I came out at about, goodness, I think it took just under an hour. I'll fix it in editing and to tell you exactly how long it took, but it took just under an hour to boil all of that down into what I have here, this abomination. And basically, all we gotta do is we just gotta keep kneading it and adding either olive oil or water, preferably olive oil, but water goes a lot farther, until we get a decently put together dough that will pass the window test. And I will show you that in just a second, because I know that some of y'all don't make bread a lot in your free time. By the way, fast trick, if you need water real quick for your bread, just run your hand under the sink and start eating your bread, and that is like the easiest way to add a small amount of water to your bread. Way you don't freaking ruin it. Come together, make a nice pizza dough. Papa's hungry. See, another thing, snow. In Tennessee, I am not used to seeing snow before like February. However, I have already encountered it multiple times here, and it's barely into December. And again, I will be posting this on Christmas Day, so y'all will be seeing it well later into the season, and I will probably be snowed in by then. But yeah, I am not used to this kind of weather, and I'm doing just fine at it. I'm doing just fine. And this dough is starting to come together. Let's see. It's getting there, but it needs a little bit more kneading. And the thing that I've learned with pizza dough, you don't want to over knead it, because you can 100% over knead this dough. And you want this to be a little bit more of a stickier dough. So just kind of keep doing that stretch. You kind of want to stretch the dough out, fold it back on itself, stretch the dough out, fold it back on itself. Just keep going. And you don't need a bowl like this in order to do it. I just like to use a bowl because it uses less flour. It is a way for me to separate my cooktop, or my kitchen top, from what I'm making. I like the bowl. I think it adds authenticity. We use the same bowl every time. Heck yeah. Mountain Dew break. That's good Mountain Dew, and absolutely nothing else. You hear that, YouTube? There is absolutely nothing else in that Mountain Dew, and you can believe that because it's true. You can believe it because it's true. So now, let's see if this will pass the window paint test. It still won't. Doesn't want to come together very much. I'm going to give it just a little bit more moisture. Just wet your hand and start kneading the dough. And you'll feel like it's a little bit more stickier, but we're really trying to activate that gluten, because we want this to be the kind of dough that we can roll out and make piazza with. And you know, I was worrying about this recipe, and it's like, Chris, why do you want to release this on Christmas? And it's like, first off, I'm God's gift to the world. So we're definitely releasing this on Christmas Day. And secondly, what better thing to share with your friends, which I may or may not have moved away from, than pizza. Like, if your friends come to visit over, you ain't cooking them freaking turkey dinner, man. This is 2024. You're ordering a pizza. If you're not ordering a pizza, then you're getting DiGiorno. It's the ultimate thing to share with your friends. And honestly, can't think of a more Christmassy meal than pineapple in pizza. And most people put pineapple on pizza. You and I, we put pineapple in pizza. Because it matters. I will take that. So, what I'm doing here is called the window test. This bread is just barely passing it. Basically, you try to spread out the gluten as thin as you can and hope it doesn't break on you. This bread is like right on the edge of what's considered acceptable. You know, like it's still kind of breaking on me, but I think that allowing it to rise is going to fix that. And also, I'm getting tired of kneading this. What I'm going to do is peel the gluten over itself. That 100% needs more oil. pardon me, this is where the science of bread making comes in. It needs to be the right consistency. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. Or not. I mean, I'm not a cop. Again, I don't care what you do with your bread. You do you. You make your own pizza crust. Buy it at Walmart, you know, if you're a heathen. I don't care. So what we're going to do is we're going to stretch it over itself. And we're going to kind of pinch the back end of it together. I will say this recipe has worked way better in the past when I've used water instead of freaking rum. Something about adding way more sugar and extra flavorings into it than it should have has altered the consistency of the bread. Who would have guessed? You know, altering the recipe alters the bread. Mind-blowing. So next thing you're going to do, you're going to cover that bad boy with oil. Give it a nice massage. Sensual or consensual. It really depends on kind of person you are. This is consensual. I guarantee the bread consents to this. And you also need to kind of spread that around the bowl too. Keep the bread from sticking to it. And that's it. You just want to have the bread covered in a layer of oil. We're going to cover that with some saran wrap. And I will see you all in about an hour when it's proofed up. We want it to pretty much double in size, if not get a little bit bigger than that. So I will see y'all then. Ta-ta. So after you've given it more than enough time for the dough to rise, may or may not have fallen asleep between now and then, you then pull it out, and we're gonna roll it to whatever size pizza we want to use. Now, if you're like me, you're too cheap to own a rolling pin. Now this is where that the shape of that plantation rum bottle that we got earlier really changes how you work things. I mean, imagine trying to roll this out with some kind of square bottle. It'd be madness. It'd be impossible. So, pro tip, if you don't own a pizza stone, but like me, you own a massive cast iron pan, you've got the next best thing to a pizza stone. You know, a big ass cast iron pan. So all you gotta do is put that dough in the bottom of that pan, poke it full of holes with a fork, spread some sauce on it. Don't you fight me. There we go. While you're doing this, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 425. That's not any kind of personal preference. That's just what the recipe says to do it. And so far, it hasn't led me astray. Then again, this time I am in fact making this crust using, you know, rum. That would be the American pastime of using far too much of one type of cheese. My cheese of choice is mozzarella. And then I'm going to use my two favorite pizza toppings. We have pepperoni, and we have ham. A lot of people forget the ham. They don't know what they're missing. And what they're missing is ham. You can put whatever toppings on this you want. I'm not a cop. Like I've said before, I'm not a cop. You do what you want, but I prefer pepperoni and ham, and no pineapple on the pizza. I would gladly put pineapple in the pizza, but pineapple on the pizza is where I draw the line. Now, normally, this is the part where I would make up some kind of a garlic butter and put it around the crust of the sauce. However, this isn't a garlicky crust, you know? This is a rum crust. So instead, I'm going to take this and I'm going to drizzle it around all the edges of this friggin' pizza. Rummy. And then, once your oven is preheated to 425, time to put this bad boy in. And then we wait 13 to 15 minutes. Alright, so, pizza's out of the oven. I ended up leaving it in there about 15, 17 minutes. The cast iron takes just a minute to warm up. You can preheat it, but then you're like fighting trying to get the pizza dough into it before the pizza dough cooks, because having a ripping hot cast iron while you're trying to build a pizza in it is interesting and fun. I didn't feel like doing that, so we just cooked it an extra couple of minutes. So what I've got here is our finished rum crust pizza. Almost burned myself. By the way, do not make the same mistake I did. Do not try to grab onto this pan right out of the oven. It is, in fact, incredibly, rippingly hot. And you will hurt yourself. Isn't she a beauty? Yeah? Beautiful. I can taste the rum. This pizza actually tastes like it's got like that hint of pineapple, that like slight hint of like pineapple and then rum spices. I kind of like that actually. I think I would serve this to friends. Maybe not good friends, but I would serve this to friends. Get a tasting of just the crust. Yeah, a lot more of that rum flavor is in the crust. It's probably because we poured freaking rum over it. But that's, I think this is like the first success where like it actually tastes like the thing that we put in it. Yeah, rum crust pizza. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me for the first episode of season 2. We're gonna try to make 10 more episodes. We're gonna try to do that about once a month. 1 episode a month, not 10 episodes a month, because I don't have that much free time. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for your time, and if you're okay with ruining some rum, I would actually encourage trying this. Bye.